Welcome to the Stochastic MLB Strategy Show. I'm your host, Neil Orfield. You can find me on Twitter at PlayerQDFS. I'm here with Adam Scherer. You can find him on Twitter at ShipMyMoneyDFS. And this show is sponsored by So Rare MLB, which is a collection of digital trading cards and an NFT-based free-to-play fantasy baseball game. We'll be talking about them a little bit later. While you're coming in, please do give us a like, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and hit that notification button so you can get alerts when our shows go live. If you've watched a lot of our shows, you're probably familiar with the Stochastic Hall of Fame, which you can get into by downloading the Stochastic avatar from stochastic.com/avatar. Place in the top 3 of a contest with over 5,000 contestants on DraftKings or FanDuel. Tweet the win to @StochasticHOF account if you have Twitter, or email us with your screenshot, and you will win a free month of Stochastic Plus Platinum. And of course, you will be on Laffy's read for the day, his Hall of Fame read. Always fun to get on that. So make sure you sign up at stochastic.com/avatar. Adam, so you picked Brent Rooker as your home run pick last night. We talked about this a little bit last night. You picked Brent Rooker, and I didn't even hear you. You mentioned that you actually switched to Hunter Renfroe. I shouldn't say I didn't hear you. So you mentioned that you switched to Hunter Renfroe, and I was like, I don't remember that. I thought Brent Rooker was your pick. And then I actually went back to our channel. Like, I don't usually go back and watch our shows because I hate listening to myself. But I went back to listen, and I went to the end of the show and timed it perfectly. And I just said, no, Hunter Renfroe. And then I heard myself say, okay, Hunter Renfroe, and just moved on and
yeah.
Clearly just
and by the way, Renfroe hit like a 380-foot double also.
Oh man. Yeah. And Brent Rooker went for 2 home runs. So, yeah, that was a regrettable change, but what are you going to do? You can't predict.
And Gallo also. So yeah,
that's right.
Yeah. Pretty much anything that I started to mention and then didn't hit a home run.
Pretty sure Shohei Ohtani also did not hit a home run, so we went 0 for yesterday. We've had a pretty good record so far this year, I think. I honestly haven't been paying that close of attention, but the few times I've remembered, it's been like, oh, wow, one of us got a home run pick. So
yeah, it's felt like we're running pretty hot on this.
Yeah, definitely running a little bit hot. Did you see this Brian Reynolds contract situation?
Just saw he signed an extension for like 100 and something million.
Yeah, 8 years, $106 million contract. Seems like a good deal for the Pirates to me, but I'm not really good with contracts in any sport. I never really understand if it's a good or bad contract.
It seemed like one of those, it's favorable for the team most likely, but also the dude just got 100 and something $million.
Right. I'll take
that. So he doesn't have to worry about things for a while, and there's a good chance that by the end of it, you're going to look back and be like, yeah, the Pirates got value here.
Yep, absolutely. Have you been tracking the Will Levis draft situation? Have you seen anything about that?
Not tracking, just seeing my entire Twitter timeline be about it. And I guess there was a Reddit thread last night, and he just shot up to 5-1 from 40-1 or something to be the number 1 pick.
Yeah, he was apparently a friend of a friend said that he had been telling people that he was going to be the number 1 pick in the draft, and that just drastically affected. And I don't even know if there's any proof. I've also not been tracking. I just saw it on my Twitter this morning. I'm like, what is going on here? But apparently Will Levis has been telling friends and family that he's going to go to the Panthers. So everybody has been betting that up. Pretty strange. He also eats rotten bananas with the peel on. How are you going to trust a guy who eats rotten bananas with the peel on?
Yeah, he's a strange dude is all that I really know from social media.
Yeah. I don't believe I took him in any of the pre-draft best balls that I did, so a little bit bummed that I did not, because all I heard was that he's not that good, so was not anticipating that he'd be a top pick. We will dive into the MLB slate. Actually, before we do that, I just got to ask you. So we have 3 elimination games going on tonight in the NBA. How many teams do you think survive elimination of those 3?
Hang on, let me see who's even playing.
It's the Timberwolves, the Clippers, and the Hawks are the 3 teams that are facing elimination, all on the road.
I think they're all done.
Yeah, I kind of do too. Now the Timberwolves have Kyle Anderson out on top of Jaden McDaniels. That's actually impactful. I don't think people realize how impactful that is for the Timberwolves. So that's a huge bummer. I'd love for them to win one more game so that they can come back to Minnesota, but think it's probably unlikely.
I mean, Denver, obviously, huge home court advantage. You have a banged up Timberwolves team. Kawhi's still out for the Clippers, so give me Phoenix at home. And then the Celtics are just in a different league than the Hawks.
And DeJounte Murray out for the Hawks.
Right. Yeah.
Right. So every one of these underdogs facing some injuries on top of it. All right. We have a 9-game slate here on this MLB slate starting at 7:07 East Coast time. If you are an East Coast elitist, which I see some people in chat want us to talk in East Coast time for some reason,
some people on the show also.
some people on the show also want us to talk in fake elitist time. I stick to real America time where it starts at 6:07, but I'll try to appease you guys, include your time zone as well. We start with the White Sox and Blue Jays. We have on the mound Mike Clevenger. Oh, I'm guessing you're going to like some aspects of this game. Mike Clevenger on the mound for the White Sox, Jose Barrios for the Blue Jays. Starting with a pitcher. You going to be playing any of these pitchers, either of these?
Barrios looks okay. Obviously hasn't been the same pitcher over the last couple of years that he was previously. Really started getting hit hard last year, but the price tag has adjusted at this point as well. So I think you can still get there. He's pulling around 10% ownership on DraftKings. It's not a terrible matchup against the White Sox. Not a great matchup either. Tough park to pitch in also. Since the start of last season, he's struck out 22.7% of righties, only about 18% of lefties. He's giving up a lot of power to lefties too. 222 expected ISO, 357 expected WOBA. Much more neutral, just average numbers against righties. That 22.5% strikeout percentage, like I mentioned, 162 expected ISO, 335 expected WOBA. So it's not to say you can't play righties against him, but lefties have really given him issues. So I think if you're going to the White Sox, you're looking primarily to Yasmani Grandal, Andrew Benintendi. It does help Barrios, though, that most of the quality bats on the White Sox do hit from the right side. That should play to his favor at least a little bit. 3.7 implied run total, $8,100 price tag. Not anything I want to get carried away with, but pulling 10% ownership, 14% chance of being a top 2 pitcher. I think that's fine. Clevenger here at 7,700. So not really getting any sort of discount, facing a really, really tough Toronto team. He hasn't shown anywhere near the same strikeout stuff that he used to have when he was on Cleveland. So far this year, 25% strikeout percentage to righties, only 9% to lefties. He has given up a 223 expected ISO to lefties, only 118 to righties. So you could make a case that most of the Toronto lineup is right-handed, or at least most of the hitters that you're concerned about are right-handed, and that sets up okay for Clevenger. But you have to keep in mind when you're talking about, what he's done against hitters from one side of the plate, you're talking about every hitter. It's not like he has spent the entire year facing a bunch of really, really, really good right-handed hitters one after the other, like you're getting with Toronto.
Okay. And then maybe who is it that you refer to as a traveling Coors Field? Who's the pitcher? I saw you refer.
No longer employed.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, I was thinking of Mike Clevenger was Madison, but that's why I said I think you're gonna have it. And then I thought it was like, no, that's not Mike Clevenger. That's a different former ace.
Yeah,
we're talking about here.
Yeah, Clevenger has just gone from somebody that I used to roster like every chance I could to somebody that I kind of just don't really play and don't love taking guys against either.
Yep, that's fair. Yeah, I was just screwing up. It's early in the morning, forgetting who my former aces are. How about the bats in this one? White Sox and Toronto. Who do you like here?
Yeah, so I mentioned Benintendi and Grandal individually from the Chicago side. I think they make sense. If you want to just hope that you get bad Barrios and go to some of the other good right-handed bats there, I think it's fine. Looking at the top stacks tool, Chicago coming in with a 4% chance of being the top stack, 4%.
I think I just lost you.
Yeah, no, I had an ESPN tab open and it just started.
Oh, okay.
But not a lot of left-handed power to attack in that White Sox lineup. On the Toronto side, we do have them with the highest top stack percentage at 10%. They're relatively expensive. They are still pulling about 11.5% ownership. My concern would just be what I was saying about Clevenger, that he has done a pretty good job, both at striking out righties this year and limiting power. But again, Springer, Bichette, Guerrero, Chapman, Kirk, not your typical right-handed hitters. All these guys are good, clearly the top of the order in particular. Dalton Varsho looks very good. 4,400 on DraftKings, should be batting cleanup. He is a good hitter, hits from the left side, so has the platoon advantage against Barrios. Against Clevenger, rather. Really, really like getting to Dalton Varsho there. After that, Brandon Belt's cheap if you want to just kind of hope he starts bouncing back towards his normal numbers. That's not a bad spot, bad price to be getting in at. But I certainly think there's a lot of upside here for the Blue Jays. My only concern would just be that, if Clevenger is on, you do have a right-handed heavy, or at least the best hitters in your lineup are right-handed.
Okay. And then how would you rank the four sides of this game?
Blue Jays bats 1, Barrios 2, White Sox 3, Clev 4.
Nice. Okay. We've got a super chat from Jorge Jacome. I totally missed this earlier. Thank you so much, Jorge. Sent us $50, just showing some appreciation. Followed Adam's suggestion yesterday, ATL/Oakland, and got a couple lineups in the top 20 in the relay throw tournament. Chat, just follow what Adam suggests as top stacks. Yeah, that seems like generally good advice to follow what Adam says. Thank you very much for the super chat, Jorge. I see EMAC in chat, and I've mentioned several times that people think that I'm like as old as EMAC, even though he's 11 years older than me. I just tried doing the stream elements thing where I do the exclamation point EMAC. What am I doing wrong here? I feel like a boomer because every time I do this, it doesn't work. I try to do the like exclamation point EMAC, exclamation point like, and then I think it's going to pop up with stream elements telling people to do something, and it did not work. So I don't know what I'm doing wrong there, but fun to see EMAC in chat. I also wanted to mention the different tournaments we've got going on DraftKings tonight because did you enter the single entry series? I got a pop up yesterday. It ended up being I only actually entered one MLB lineup yesterday because once again it was locking during a basketball show for me, so pretty poor timing. Loco just did it and it worked just fine. Okay, exclamation point EMAC. That's exactly what I did, and it did not do anything. Maybe it's just delayed. I don't know. Did you join this single entry tournament?
I don't even know what you're talking about.
Okay, I got a pop up yesterday like that. DraftKings is running a series of single entry contests, so you can only do one entry per night. But then there's also like prizes for if you finish near the top, like over it's just like a 6-day period or something like that. That's the only contest I entered yesterday. Was a $44 single entry. Ended up getting 78th in that one, stacking my twins. But it's kind of cool that they're doing that. And then also tonight,
that is I do like when they do that. It's fun. I just totally missed it, I guess.
Oh, okay. Bummer. But then also tonight, do you think you're going to be playing this $1,500 buy-in, $250,000 to first contest?
No.
Yeah, me neither. But probably somebody in chat will hopefully somebody in chat will take this one down. $250,000.
I mean, that is one way to end the downswing is you
just win $250,000.
Yeah, just fire into high stakes, massive prize pool and just win.
Yeah. So if any of you are doing that, good luck. Yeah, Obi-Wan says single entry leaderboard. Maybe that's what it's called. Larry says, Adam wondering, is Neil talking to me? I don't know. I don't remember who I was talking to about what.
You were half talking to me about the single entry thing, but then also trying to figure out the thing with EMAC.
Yeah, I get distracted sometimes. It's early in the morning. Yeah. Some disagreement between EMAC and Sean V about whether Barrios owns the White Sox. Hard to say.
Gonna go with EMAC on this one.
Yeah, EMAC provided stats.
See the conversation, but
yeah. So many things I wanted to talk about this morning. It's a lot of sports, a lot of interesting sports stuff going on in this morning. But we will move on to the next.
As another random sports aside, a highlight of my week, I got retweeted by Pitching Ninja yesterday.
For what? What did you say?
So I quote. He had tweeted a video of Cano, former Twin, throwing just a ridiculous changeup and getting a strikeout on Tristan Casas, and I quote tweeted it and said. The Orioles recreated Felix Bautista to be a setup man for.
I saw that tweet.
Yeah, and Pitching Ninja retweeted it. So I didn't realize he'd retweeted it, and I'm sitting there and like I just see it has like 10,000 impressions in like 4 minutes. I'm like, what the hell just happened? And then I realized that he had retweeted it, and that explained why. But yeah, that was cool.
Did you pick up any new followers? Are we going to get more people watching our stream today?
I think I picked up like 1 to 200 overnight.
Wow. All right. Which is for you just like par for the course probably, but a lot for most of us.
Tuki Toussaint, former Braves pitcher, also liked my tweet this morning, so that was cool.
That's cool. That is cool. Yeah. I had to look up who Pitching Ninja is. I don't follow him. I know that I've heard of him before. All right, I'll give him a follow. Yeah, it seems like a lot of people I know follow him. For some reason, I was not really aware of him. That's very cool. All right, Washington at New York Mets. We've got Josiah Gray on the mound for the Nats. I don't see that we have a pitcher, at least in Fantasy Country. We don't have a Mets pitcher currently. If you know better than that, let me know. But what's your level of interest in Josiah Gray or any Mets pitchers here?
Yeah, I'm trying to see what we have as far as pitching goes, but Josiah Gray, not interested. We don't have a line here either, as far as I can tell. It looks like DraftKings has Jose Butto. I don't know if I pronounced that right or not, but listed as the probable starter. Went 5 innings against Oakland on the 16th. He's 5,500. I don't know if that's been confirmed yet, but at 5,500, probably not going to need to get there anyway. He is facing the Nats if you need, a dirt cheap pitcher. On the Josiah Gray side, he does have pretty good strikeout stuff, but tough matchup here with the Mets. A lot of good left-handed bats, which can really give Josiah Gray problems. So I don't really want to get to him, even though he is kind of cheap for the amount of strikeout upside he offers.
Okay. And then what about the bats in this one?
Mets bats look good. Nimmo, Lindor, McNeil, Vogelbach, Beatty, like all these guys have power from the left side. 255 expected ISO from Josiah Gray since last year, 304 actual ISO allowed to left-handed hitters. Just sets up as a really good spot for the bats. The park isn't great for hitting, but other than that, I do really like the Mets here. Looking at the top stacks tool, they're coming in the middle of the pack, 5% top stack, 5% ownership. I think from a home run standpoint, though, you have a little bit more upside.
Okay. And rank the four sides of it.
Mets bats 1. Possibly Mets pitcher 2, if that's who it is. Nats bats 3, Gray 4.
Okay. Everybody talking about Butthole Jenkins. I don't see Butthole in here, but people talking about him. Maybe I'm blind apparently. Good to see you, Butthole. All right. We have Miami and Atlanta is the third game on the slate. Brian Hoeing on the mound for Miami, Charlie Morton for the Braves. Starting with the pitchers, Adam, what's your level of interest?
For the Braves, Morton's obviously good, decent matchup against Miami. 3.3 implied run total. $8,600 price tag looks pretty good. Coming in fourth in the top pitchers tool, 23% ownership, 19% chance of being a top 2 pitcher. I like getting there. You're just getting a nice discount on a pretty good pitcher. On the other side, tough matchup against Atlanta. Not looking to get the Brian Hoeing. 8,300 doesn't, without really knowing who he is, 8,300 doesn't seem like the correct price tag for him in this spot, given that Atlanta's really good and this guy is making his 9th total Major League appearance, 2nd total Major League start.
Yeah, probably not the best spot to attack him. The Braves they have some strikeouts in the lineup, right? Like sometimes I try to, maybe that's no longer true. I've always thought of
they do, but they also just have so much power.
Okay. Yeah. Obviously that's the tough spot there. So with that in mind, any interest in the bats here?
Some interest in the Braves. You're facing a pitcher in Hoeing that, like I said, 8 total Major League appearances so far, 1 start. He made 3 starts, 4 total appearances at AAA this year, struck out 30% of hitters. Last year at AAA, though, he started 17 games, 18 total appearances. He struck out 12% of hitters. My guess is that something changed, and that explains the increased strikeout percentage this year. Maybe he's just going to be a lot better than we've seen in the past, but I will believe that when I see it. And obviously, this is a tough landing spot coming in and facing the Braves in your first start up.
Yeah, very true. And did you say any interest in the Marlins here?
Not really. Morton's just a pitcher that I have a lot of respect for. 3.3, one of the lowest implied run totals on the slate.
Okay. And then how would you rank the 4 sides of the game?
Morton, Braves, and that's about it.
Okay. Well, then we will move on to the next game. San Diego at Chicago in Wrigley. Bad spot for bats here. Before we get into that game, though, let me tell you guys about our sponsor, SoRare. And I'm going to share my screen briefly. We can take a look at how my lineup is doing so far. I know one part of my lineup is doing very well. Spencer Strider in the relief pitcher spot. Yeah, put up 56 points here. Negative points out of Brandon Lau, 4 points out of Judge, negative points out of Anthony Rizzo. In general, not having the best start here for my team, but Strider kind of makes up for all of it. And I'm in 356 out of 2,400 currently in the limited pro contest. One thing that I have not mentioned is that if you guys don't want to immediately put money into SoRare, when you sign up, you can actually play for free to start. I can't show you right now how this works because I have already done it. But when you do sign up for SoRare, they do let you pick out a lineup. So like you have your choice of common cards. So I'm playing the limited cards. These ones cost money. You have to buy them or win them in contest to play them. They're all numbered to 5,000, but they also do have the common cards. So I'll show you the upcoming slates for the common. There's the common all-star slate, the minor slate, whatever. And these ones are free cards that you get just when you sign up. They let you pick out a number of free cards at each position so you can fill a full team right away. And then in these contests, you can win limited cards. If you win first, you'll get a tier 1 card, which is pretty valuable. Those are, they're money. So basically you can get free cards for absolutely nothing when you sign up. Cost nothing to sign up in these free contests. If you just want to like dip your toes and kind of figure out how SoRare works, highly recommend doing so. The link is in the description of this video. Actually, let me see if I can pull that up once again. I should get this link ready real quick. I got this. I'll put the link in the description. It really is a fun game. I check it out every day how I'm doing multiple times a day for NBA because I'm actually better at it, actually competing usually. A little bit tougher with MLB. I have not been off to the best start. Here's the link. Just put it in chat. Make sure you check that out. Use that link when you sign up for SoRare. And again, it's free to get started. If you want to play the limited contest, it's going to cost a little bit of money, but still not very prohibitive, not very expensive. And then these common cards, you just get them for free when you sign up. You can swap in new cards every day. It's a very cool concept. So check it out. Really fun way to play. You can't see my screen right now, can you? Hang on, let me refresh this. Maybe you could. Sometimes in StreamYard, I can't see my screen, but you can actually see it in the video. I don't know, but
I wasn't looking at StreamYard, so I'm not sure.
Yeah, nobody mentioned anything, but yeah, make sure you check out SoRare. It really is a fun way to play. These are collectibles. You can keep them forever, and every card you buy, you can use it for the length of the player's career in whatever contest you want. So, I mean, not whatever contest you want, but whatever contest that card is available. So the limited cards you can play in limited contests, and they work year over year. A lot of the cards that I have bought for MLB are cards that are from last year, and they continue to be useful. So highly recommend checking out SoRare if you haven't already. It is a fun new way to play fantasy sports. 2 contests each week here, so check it out. All right, I will move on to the Wrigley game. Interesting spot here with it's a little bit cold, winds blowing in Wrigley, so we don't get the like great weather spot for bats. We do have some elite arms on the mound though. Justin Steele and Blake Snell on the mound in this one. Adam, do you have any interest in either of these pitchers?
Yeah, definitely. Snell at 8,500 is going to be the one that you look to first. You know the sort of risk you're getting with him. He has a tendency to drive up his pitch count, walk too many guys, put guys on base. I've said it before. If when you roster him, there's typically going to be one inning where you're watching and it's like, all right, the bases are loaded with one out. He's either about to just score negative points or he's going to get out of this and be fine the rest.
And still hear you. Oh, Larry C says you just got to hit refresh. So yeah,
I'll say it looks. Oh, I'm not live. Yeah, no, I still see me talking. I think.
Everybody in chat saying we're froze. So apparently it froze right before Adam was going to talk about Snell. So okay, all right. I think that we can. It sounds like people are back now. They just have to refresh their page. So I think we can continue. Okay, yeah, we're getting people saying that you're gonna have to start over with Snell. Can you start? Let's just start over on this game. Pitchers in this game. Justin Steele, you said
against the Padres is certainly expensive. On FanDuel, he's 11-4, so he's actually the most expensive pitcher there. He is a good pitcher. He does have favorable pitching conditions.
Adam, we're frozen again. Jesus. All right. I'm debating whether we should just continue with the show because it comes back after they hit refresh. Like, I don't know what we miss when they hit refresh. All right, I'm seeing if we refresh. Loco says that we're not frozen.
All right, they said they're all saying we're back.
Okay, so sorry to interrupt you twice now, but it's I feel it's probably you don't want to keep talking when we are not live. All right, Loco says that we're fine. We'll continue where you left off.
All right, play Blake. Not going to use his name. Apparently, that's causing some problems.
Yeah,
but just looks like he looks really good. Justin Steele, from a GPP standpoint, makes some sense. He's a good pitcher, good pitching conditions. The problem is that he's the most expensive pitcher on FanDuel. He's 10,100 on DraftKings, so he's the second most expensive pitcher there. And you do have a tough matchup against the Padres. The thing that makes him look interesting right now is that, like on DraftKings, if you look at the top pitchers tool, Joe Ryan's coming in at the top at $10,500, pulling 28% ownership. Blake is coming in third at 8,500, pulling 25% ownership. Steele is sandwiched between those two. 20% chance of being a top 2 pitcher, only 8% owned. I think that ownership probably changes during the day where you see Joe Ryan's come down a little bit and Steele's come up. If it doesn't change, I still think it's likely that this is a spot where in the actual tournament, once lineups lock and everything, you just see Steele be a little bit higher owned than projected and Ryan be a little bit lower. That's just a trend we've seen over the last couple of years in MLB DFS. As the field's gotten sharper, is normally we've seen it apply to the top stacks, but you'll see like a ton of ownership coming into stack 1, and stack 2 looks like a clear great contrarian play. And then when lineups lock, stack 2 is just as owned as stack 1. So this jumps out to me as a spot like that with pitching, where if the projected ownership going into lock is Joe Ryan being 4 times as popular as Justin Steele, I think you just see that balance out, and it probably ends up being like 2-1 or something like that. But it does at least look, on the surface, if you take these numbers at face value, it does create a situation where, you're kind of overpaying for Justin Steele in a tough spot, but he shouldn't be 1/4 the ownership of Joe Ryan. He shouldn't be 1/3 the ownership of Blake Snell. Damn it.
Yeah.
Finally said it.
Now you said it. Oh, frozen again. No, haven't seen anything yet. How about the bats in this one?
Not a lot to like there. 2 good pitchers, not good hitting weather at all. It's cold. The wind is blowing in, like you said. I guess you can always make the case for getting to some Padres bats, or you can always make the case for hoping Blake Snell blows up. But even when Blake Snell blows up, it's usually just like walking the bases loaded and then giving up a couple of hits, and it's bad for him as a pitcher, but not really great for the opposing offense. So realistically, I don't think I'd get to too much of either offense. Looking at the top stacks tool right now, they're both in the bottom 4. San Diego 4th from the bottom, 3% chance of being the top stack. 1.3 stack score is one of the lowest. Same for the Cubs, 2.6% chance of being the top stack. 1.4 stack score. Just nothing I really want hitter-wise.
Okay, and then how would you rank the 4 sides?
Snell 1, Steele 2, I guess the Padres 3, and the Cubs 4.
Okay. Then we've got the Yankees at my Twins. Nestor Cortez on the mound for the Yankees. Joe Ryan for the Twins. Starting with the pitchers, Adam, what's your level of interest?
Joe Ryan looks good. We have a pretty watered down Yankees lineup right now. No Stanton, no Donaldson. Certainly not the same lineup that you typically see. And they have a 3.1 implied run total. It just looks really, really good. Joe Ryan's a solid pitcher, 25.8% strikeout percentage since the start of last year. Certainly gives you plenty of upside. Has had issues with lefties more so than righties, at least in terms of strikeouts. He has struck out 32.3% of right-handed hitters since last year, only 19% of lefties. But he is somebody that when he's on, he gets those strikeouts against lefties as well. A lot of it just has to do with his command and if he's locating. His stuff on its own will get strikeouts against righties. Lefties, it's a little bit smaller margin for error. But you do have, a predominantly right-handed lineup here. Probably going to be 5 righties in there, 4 lefties. And most of it's not that good, especially as you get toward the bottom. So Joe Ryan does look really good here. Again, I don't think he should be 4 times as popular as Justin Steele on DraftKings, but Joe Ryan does look like a very good play.
Okay. What about the bats in this one?
Oh, and I forgot Nestor Cortez.
Oh,
he's also good. He's coming in 6th in top 2 pitcher percentage, but a lot of these guys are pretty just like lumped together. Cortez is about 18%. Steele is about 20%. And that's the difference between 2nd and 6th. 26% ownership coming into Cortez. Looks perfectly fine. Again, he shouldn't be like, I think we just have kind of like a glitch or something in the Steele ownership because like Steele is getting 1/3 the ownership of Nestor Cortez. He's only $200 more. We have him more likely to be a top 2 pitcher. So again, if that ownership holds, I just like getting to more Steele. But Cortez certainly looks fine here. Just a good pitcher overall. Still only like 50 degrees in Minnesota. So expect 6.5 total on this game. The pitching is going to look pretty good.
Yep. 50 degrees. All right, we're up to 50 degrees. I didn't even know. I haven't been outside yet today, so that's good to hear. What about the bats in this one?
I'm pretty good there. Not even tempted to take a Joey Gallo home run today.
Okay, good. Glad. I mean, didn't work out for you yesterday, fading the Gallo home run, so he's probably going to hit one again. So my take is just play Joey Gallo, guys. How would you rank the 4 sides of the game?
Joe Ryan 1, Nestor Cortez 2. I guess Twins 3, Yankees 4. It's kind of like the Cubs game. I just don't really want to get to the bats.
Yeah, I guess the lefty with Joey Gallo against Nestor Cortez. So another knock against it. All right, Detroit at Milwaukee.
So
we've
sub 100 expected ISO to lefties since last year for Cortez with a 34% strikeout percentage. Doesn't set up great for Joey Gallo.
Yeah, not the best spot. Lou Sasso says 41 for me in Minnesota. So it would be maybe 50 closer to game time. But yeah, still, I'll take 41. Heating up at least. It's no longer in the 30s. Spencer Turnbull on the mound for the Tigers. Eric Lauer on the mound for the Brewers. Adam, what's your level of interest in the pitchers here?
Eric Lauer is getting some ownership, which yes is fine. He's another guy that's just in that range between like 2 and 6 and top 2 pitcher percentage. Good matchup against Detroit. 19% chance of being a top 2 pitcher, 25% ownership on DraftKings at 8,800. On FanDuel, 16% ownership, 8% chance of being the top scoring pitcher at 9,300. So no real issues with Lauer. Just looks like pretty much correct ownership, if not going a little bit over owned. He's another guy where, if you can find the salary to get to somebody like Steele at lower ownership, I don't think they're that different. But Lauer's, a solid enough pitcher. Not really looking to get to Turnbull here against Milwaukee. Doesn't have very good strikeout stuff. Does a decent job of limiting power. He has that going for him, but 5.6% chance of being the top 2 pitcher, 5% projected ownership. There's another pitcher in this price range getting 5% ownership that I would play 100 out of 100 times before I play Turnbull.
Okay. I'm sure we'll get there. How about the bats in the Detroit-Milwaukee game?
The Milwaukee bats look okay here. Like I said, Turnbull's not great, or is pretty good at limiting power, but not great at getting strikeouts. Very, very limited sample since the start of last year. He has given up some power, but if you go back to the 2021 season, 162 expected ISO to lefties, 121 to righties. Go back to 2020 to get a bigger sample size, 140 to righties, 152 to lefties. So it's not that he's excellent at preventing home runs, but he's not a total gas can. But you still have a 4.8 implied run total from Milwaukee. You still have plenty of power bats here. You have a cheap Jesse Winker, reasonably priced Tellez. Contreras is a cheap catcher option. Bryce Terang is cheap and gives you a lot of stolen base upside. Yelich obviously is always fine. So is Adames. So I do certainly have some interest in Milwaukee. Not too interested in the Tiger side of things. Lauer is a solid enough pitcher. But the other thing is that typically when I do have interest in the Tigers, it's going to Riley Green, Kerry Carpenter, and Akil Baddoo. And those guys all are left-handed, which is going to make me not really want to get there. Not sure how many of them will even be in the lineup. This lineup looks a lot less appealing from a stacking standpoint when you start talking about Tyler Nevin, Miguel Cabrera, Matt Vierling, Spencer Torkelson, probably batting cleanup. Pretty tough sell for me, I think.
Yeah. And sorry, did you say do you have any interest in the Brewers bets?
Yeah, okay. I do like the Brewers.
Okay, and then how would you rank the 4 sides?
Lauer 1, Brewers 2, I guess Turnbull 3 on DraftKings just because he's 5,200, and then Tigers 4.
All right. I don't really want to get sidetracked because I'm so nervous now that the stream is going to freeze again. But I just got to ask. Apparently, there are rumors going around that the Vikings are targeting a quarterback in this draft. That'd be crazy, right?
That.
You've got Kirk Cousins. You've heard this rumor too?
Yeah. Isn't he gone after this year?
I thought he had 2 years left. Maybe he is.
I don't know.
I pay so little attention to contract situations until it becomes relevant in DFS. Yeah, maybe it is just 1 more year. So I guess it would make sense. My friends are speculating that they're going to trade Kirk Cousins then, which I would not like that. I want them to keep Kirk Cousins at least for the length of his contract. He's done well enough that I want to keep him. But I guess if he is gone after this year, it would make some sense to go after a quarterback.
Yeah, so all I know is that I'd kind of seen, because I don't really follow it, but I had seen tweets about Minnesota potentially taking a quarterback. And when I did sort of just read the reasoning, it was okay, whatever. I guess that kind of makes sense. I don't remember what the reasoning or anything was though, or who the quarterbacks were.
Okay, people are saying Hooker to the Vikes. I don't even know who that is. I've done a lot of best ball drafts.
Tennessee quarterback.
Okay, I don't think that I've drafted any of them in best ball.
Coming off of ACL injury, maybe some sort of injury. I think he's also 25 years old.
Oh, really? All right. Interesting.
He was really, really good though.
Was he? Okay.
Yeah,
all right. I mean, it'd be exciting. I don't know if it's the right move, but it would at least be exciting, I guess. So I'll take that. All right. A's at Angels. Mason Miller on the mound for the A's. Griffin Canning for the Angels. Starting with the pitchers here, Adam, what's your level of interest?
Very interested in a $5,700 Mason Miller that is projected for 5% ownership.
Okay, so that's who you're referring to. The 5%.
Yeah. I don't know why that ownership is so low. I don't know why people wouldn't be playing him. I get that the matchup against the Angels is scary. The ballpark's good for hitters, all of that. This guy throws hard. We had talked about him last. He made his major league debut in his last start. He wasn't in the player pool, so we didn't really have to worry about rostering him or anything. But this is the guy that when we went to look him up and sort of seen what he had done in the minors, there was nothing to pull because he has 28 minor league innings because of dealing with injuries since he got drafted. But moved very, very quickly through the minors, obviously. Made 1 start at AA this year, went 3 2/3, made 1 start at AAA, and they got him up to the majors where he went 4 1/3 innings, but he did throw 81 pitches. So, is relatively stretched out. He averaged 99.5 miles per hour on his fastball. Just looked really, really good. Had a 12% swinging strike percentage. That's, obviously good. 35% chase percentage on pitches out of the zone is good. at 5,700 and no ownership, if you need savings at all, I think he's really interesting. Fangraphs grades on his pitches, 70 grade fastball, which is pretty close to as good as you're going to get. It's 20 to 80 scale. 55, 60 grade on his slider, which means 55 currently, projects to be 60 in the future, and 55, 60 on his changeup. 30, 40 command. So using their scouting report, not great command, but unbelievably good stuff at 5,700 and, at least close to fully stretched out. I think he's really, really, really interesting. Griffin Canning has the good matchup going up against Oakland. I think that he is a reasonable option as well. He's pulling 24% ownership, 6,400. That's probably a reason that Miller isn't getting more ownership, is you can just find $700 and get to Canning, who isn't facing a team with a 5-run implied total. But in tournaments, I really like that lack of ownership coming into Mason Miller.
Yeah. So how do you think you grade a fastball? Is it just like speed of the pitch and placement, or is there more to it than that?
Movement velocity.
Movement as well. So, okay. I guess, see, this is my my lack of understanding some things about baseball. I'm like, I don't think of a fastball as like moving other, like I think of fastball as just being like straight down the line really fast. But there is actually
pitching ninja.
Yeah, apparently I do. Okay. So there is still some movement. Yeah. Well, I just followed him. So I'm gonna have to go check out Pitching Ninja. So there is movement still involved there. Okay. And did you say, do you have any interest in the bats in this game, Oakland and Angels?
Yeah, really both sides, because these are two relatively talented, young-ish pitchers, but it is still a hitter's park. Griffin Canning is still, a bit of a question mark here. I think he's a good play at 6,400, no real doubt about that, but he was hurt for a lot of last year. If you go back to the 2021 season, 233 expected ISO to righties, only 121 to lefties, but only struck out 18% of lefties compared to 25% of righties. I don't love the A's, but I do like the park upgrade. I do think that they're likely to go. Actually, I thought they were likely to go a bit overlooked. They are pulling 7% ownership, but that's because they have a 20% chance of being the top value stack. They're just so cheap that, if you are looking to pay up for two of those pitchers, you're looking to go Ryan Cortez or Ryan Steele or something like that, the A's will let you do it. So I am interested in them, from a value standpoint and just sort of a park upgrade standpoint. On the Angels side, I'm interested in them because they do have a lot of good hitters, and you are facing a guy who has like 33 professional innings pitched at any level. There's obviously going to be a lot of volatility there, even if his stuff is really, really good. You're still facing Taylor Ward, Mike Trout, Shohei Ohtani, Rendon, and Renfroe. Like, you can get into trouble pretty quickly. So definitely interest in both offenses and both pitchers. This is kind of one of the first games, I think, where I've just liked all parts of the game.
Nice. And then how would you rank them?
Probably Canning 1 at 6,400 on DraftKings. On FanDuel, probably the Angels 1. So Canning 1, Angels 2, Miller 3, A's 4.
Okay.
Miller is pretty much just a stuff and low ownership tournament play at 5,700. Like, the stuff is really, really good. If you told me he was 20 to 25% owned, I'd still think he was playable, but it would obviously be really risky. It's just that at no ownership, he definitely has a ceiling.
Yeah. Josh Gillum says some throw sinkers or cutters. Those are different than fastballs, aren't they? Or
they're all classified as fastballs typically.
Okay.
But also like your four-seamer typically is going to be straighter than a cutter or sinker. But you'll still potentially get some movement. Also with four-seamers, like, spin rate becomes a big thing, because the higher the spin rate, the more true the pitch is going to stay, because it's going to work against gravity. So it almost, the higher your spin rate, the more it actually will look to a batter like the pitch is rising, even though it isn't.
Yeah. Interesting. Yeah, I guess I knew that there were four-seamers and two-seamers. I just haven't given much thought to the differences in different pitch types.
Yeah, your two-seamers and sinkers are going to get more arm side run. Your cutters are going to get more glove side run. Your four-seamer is going to stay straighter and kind of backspin, so it fights gravity more.
Okay. Yeah, Arnold Lane says his concern is 81 pitches last time out for Mason Miller. That seems pretty high for a first major league start. That actually seems promising to me.
Yeah, that's how I see it too. Do I think he's going to go out there and throw 108 pitches or something? No, but he's 5,700, and with the strikeout potential he has, if you tell me he's throwing 85, 90 pitches, I think that there's a pretty nice ceiling there.
Right, especially at his price tag. I mean, being low priced, you don't really need to go 7 innings. So,
and the other thing too, and I just saw Larry C mention it. He went 4 1/3. It's not like they pulled him after 4 innings at 70 pitches or something. They took him out mid-inning, which suggests that he probably had guys on base.
Yeah, Larry says that he got in trouble into the 5th, so apparently that's what happened. Yeah, I don't think that's a huge concern.
Yeah. He maxed out at 102.5 on his fastball in that game.
Damn. All right, take that.
15 pitches of at least 100 miles per hour.
All right. Yeah, that's somebody that I'm gonna have interest in playing too. Interesting. All right, we have 2 more games left. Guys, if you have not yet signed up for Stokastic, if you're a first-time user, we do have a great offer. If you just use promo code SCORE, you can get 50% off any package at Stokastic. So it can be a weekly package, monthly package, baseball only, can be all sports, whatever package you want to commit to, you can get for 50% off right now just using promo code SCORE. You'll get access to our ownership projections, general projections, lineup generator, lineup builder, boom bust tool. Of course, the tools that Adam and I reference constantly, the top stacks tool, the top pitchers tool, top batters tool, all included if you sign up for a package that includes baseball. So again, if you're new to Stokastic, you haven't signed up yet, use promo code SCORE and you will get 50% off whichever package you choose. Highly recommend it. These are the tools that I use every day in creating lineups. They're the primary source of everything I do in MLB DFS. So make sure you use promo code SCORE when you sign up. You'll get 50% off. Adam, we have Kansas City at Arizona.
Sorry, one other thing on Miller. Bill Miner said comparing him to Strider once he matures a little. I don't want to compare him to Strider now that we know what Strider is. But that was actually the thought that I had when I was sort of just looking at his stuff. Was when Strider first moved into the rotation last year, I was kind of just like, okay, I don't know who the hell this guy is. He hasn't really pitched at advanced levels of the minor leagues, but his stuff looks absolutely insane. So we'll see, how it plays. And obviously it played incredibly well. So don't want to say, oh yeah, this guy is Spencer Strider. But that was kind of my first thought when I looked. It was like, this guy just has unbelievable stuff and could just dominate right out of the gate.
Yeah, that's a nice. Was he a rookie just last year? Man, I was thinking at least 2 years.
Yeah, and he started the year in the bullpen. If I remember right, I don't have his page in front of me. If I remember right, when they moved him into the rotation, it was kind of just like doing the show. It was just like, okay, I don't know who this guy is. I think he had predominantly pitched at Double-A and then moved into the bullpen, and so it was just like, all right, this guy's stuff was unbelievable out of the bullpen. It's probably not going to play the same as a starter, and then he just kept striking out 40% of the guys he faced.
Oh, yeah. Strider just incredible. That was fun last night. He just dominated everything. I assume you played him in any MLB entries. I guess you only played cash, right?
Yeah.
So it was a lot.
So me and pretty much everybody else. But
yeah, I had him in my one entry. So 100% Spencer Strider for me last night. I saw Eric had 92% or something posted on Twitter. And he just absolutely dominated. So RIP to anybody who faded. All right, Kansas City at Arizona. Adam, I know you typically like some Brady Singer. I don't know. I know Bubich is your guy, but Brady Singer has felt like he's a little bit your guy this year too. Brady Singer, Ryan Nelson on the mound. Any interest in these pitchers?
I mean, Singer's not getting any ownership at 7,200. So if you want to just go there to offset some ownership, it's fine. He's a good enough real life pitcher. Since the start of last year, just shy of a 24% strikeout percentage, 3.38 xFIP. Don't love taking pitchers against the Diamondbacks. Don't really think you need that price either, because you do have cheaper guys. If you need savings, you can just go down to Griffin Canning, you can go down to Mason Miller, and you'll probably upgrade your bats even more. So not totally necessary to get the Singer, but at the same time, 1%. 1% ownership is lower than it should be from an optimal standpoint. But the Diamondbacks also have a 5.4 implied run total. This is a solid lineup. You have good hitters top to bottom. Alec Thomas is a top 100 prospect, batting 8th for this team. Gabby Moreno is a highly regarded hitting prospect as a catcher. Came over in the Dalton Varsho deal. Rojas, Marte, Carroll, another top prospect. Walker, Gurriel. These guys all can hit. So it's not a particularly easy spot to walk into. On the other side for Ryan Nelson, don't really see a need to get to him at 7,500. We know that I'm always willing to go to KC bats, particularly Witt, Melendez, Perez, Pasquantino at the top. Those guys are all going to be pretty solid plays. DraftKings did decide to add Franmil Reyes back into the player pool. Not entirely sure why he was ever removed, but he's back. Doesn't get the same good matchup he did yesterday, or same righty-lefty matchup, I should say, he did yesterday, but still a big-time power bat at sub 3K.
Was he coming off an injury or something?
He was on the paternity list for a few days. I just don't know why that gets you removed from the player pool.
Maybe they were afraid after the Fernando Tatis day. They're like, we got to remove them until they come back.
Yeah, but then they still brought him back at 2,700. Like, not that that's like a broken price or anything. It's not 2K, but yeah, I don't know. It seems like it would be easier to just leave him and not, miss a day. But I guess if the alternative, like you said, is just that when he comes back, he's going to be $2,000.
Yeah, that's very strange. By the way, guys, I did look up on SoRare. Mason Miller not yet available in the player pool, so maybe check out SoRare for Mason Miller when he is made available. When they release a card sometime this year, might be a good buy. Ski Mask has sent us a couple of super chats. First, he says, Adam, I've been watching you guys for years. Who are your favorite MLB, NFL, and NBA teams?
Favorite baseball team is the Orioles. Favorite football team is the Commanders. Favorite NBA team is the Wizards. I like all the DC teams except for the Orioles over the Nats.
Is that just because the Nats didn't exist when you became a fan?
Yeah. I grew up closer to DC. Nats didn't exist until I was like a freshman in high school. So was well into Orioles fandom at that time.
Yep. And then Ski Mask, thank you, sent us a second super chat. You don't have to send a super chat every time you have, I guess he has questions. So obviously I'm more likely to see it if you do, but you don't always have to. He says, I don't watch baseball, but want to play. Would you suggest tiers, classic, or showdown? The only one that I play is classic. Adam, how would you answer this question?
I mean, I would suggest classic just because like there's more action, bigger prize pools. I did actually play tiers and showdown cash yesterday too. I've started just playing everything.
Oh, funny.
There was a little bit more action than I expected, but yeah, I mean, I would, I guess recommend classic just because, again, more action, bigger prize pools. It kind of depends on your goals. Like there's probably a slightly bigger edge in tiers and showdown, just where like there's no real content. There's not a lot of content out there. I think like my mom sitting on the couch is more likely to make like a showdown lineup than a classic lineup. In terms of like competition that you're playing against. Yeah. But especially at lower stakes. But as far as like outside of grinding out, a few extra bucks, classic is going to give you more upside. It's going to be where you're getting, the most content. So yeah, I mean, I would, if you're from just a pure entertainment, all things considered standpoint, I would say classic, unless like you're just watching one particular game and you want to throw a showdown lineup in or whatever. Yeah,
I think that's a good answer, because if you're just watching, going to a game, want to throw in a showdown lineup, that makes sense. But yeah, in general, I think I find classic to be the most entertaining. But yeah, a lot of different ways to play. All right, where were we? We never got to the bats in this one, did we? Kansas City, Arizona.
Not really. Just kind of in the sense that I don't like the pitchers because of the bats that they're facing.
Right. Okay. Do you want to expound on your level of interest in the bats?
Yeah, both in the top 5 in top stack percentage. Arizona coming in second, just behind Toronto. 6% chance of being the top value compared to Toronto at 1.5%. So that does give Arizona a higher stack score overall. 10% aggregate ownership coming in there. KC pulling 12% ownership with about a 7.5% chance of being the top stack. That's because they are a little bit cheaper. 9% chance of being the top value. Witt, Melendez, Perez, Pasquantino are all going to look pretty good. On FanDuel, we've seen really, really favorable pricing on Bobby Witt so far this season. Today, he is coming in at still 3,300 over there. So he's 5K on DraftKings. He's 3,300 on FanDuel. It's going to make him look even better. Salvador Perez is 2,700 on FanDuel. Vinny Pasquantino is 3K. The Royals are pretty much free on FanDuel. So even more value there than they're offering on DraftKings. But yeah, certainly happy to get to them. Ryan Nelson, since the start of last year, not much of a sample size. 151 expected ISO to righties, 172 to lefties. Singer on the other side has had some issues with left-handed power in particular. 226 expected ISO, 110 expected ISO to righties. He's weird in terms of his splits. He gives up a lot more power to lefties, which you would expect, but he's also struck lefties out at a 28% clip compared to 19.5% against righties. Just relies on his sinker to both sides of the plate, more so to righties. That gets a lot of ground balls against righties, doesn't miss a lot of bats. It's a pitch that also typically has a very small margin for error against opposite-handed hitters. So it isn't going to get a lot of swings and misses, and it is going to get hit far when he misses his location. So that does set up nicely for Rojas, Marte, Carroll in particular at the top of the order, all from the left side.
Okay. And then how would you rank the 4 sides of the game?
D-backs bats 1, Royals bats 2, Singer 3, Nelson 4.
Okay. And then one final game on the slate, San Francisco and St. Louis. Actually, before we do that one, Adam, I know you do daily Bet Pro videos. Have you got your Bet Pro video out yet today?
No, I do
Okay.
that after this because it doesn't load till noon.
Oh, I see. Okay. But it's something that have you been doing a lot of sports betting? No. So I've started doing like the stuff that I can play here in Minnesota. I've been playing just Noah's Advantage, Prize Picks, etc. Like the prop sites. I know that it's legal where you are, right? So you can actually do sports betting. Have you been? I assume since you're using Bet Pro, you're having some success there.
Yeah, I've been doing it a little bit more recently. I've actually been tweeting about it pretty much every day because I realized that's one way to get myself to consistently do it because like I want to, it's just another way that I can, add a little bit to the bottom line using our tools. But the problem is that like you kind of need to be refreshing it pretty often and, checking it when lines first come out at night, checking it in the morning. And typically I don't really do it. So I've actually been tweeting out like when I place bets either at night or in the morning just to kind of hold myself accountable. But so I've been doing that a little bit more using primarily Odd Shopper, using Bet Pro a little bit as well. Either one of those, are good. I do the video on Bet Pro. If you follow me on Twitter and you haven't already signed up to Odd Shopper, I have a link in there for a 7-day free trial as well that I've included in my, personal betting threads. But I've been doing it a bit more, trying to just add it as another, sort of income stream.
Yep. So Odd Shopper, and I think I think you posted yesterday a 7-day free trial to Bet Pro too, right? We also have that
Yeah, we
for
have that
Bet
too.
Pro.
Yep.
Okay, so you can also check out Adam's timeline at Ship My Money DFS. You can find that link. Follow his link to Bet Pro. You can get a 7-day free trial. These are the best. I think the best tools in the entire business right now. It's $29.95 per week, typically $99.95 per month. But you can get again that first 7 days for free, so you get a $30 value right away. And they're all like the tools have different things that you use them for. Like Bet Pro, you can use for sports betting. So if you're in a sports betting state, you can use Bet Pro. I, of course, have been using Pick'em Pro, the Prize Picks parlay tool, etc. All the different types of tools because I can only play the parlay sites. But highly recommend using those. They're all of these are run by Alex Shanzon, Steve Buzzard, some of the best DFS players of all time, are doing the projections. They created these tools and they use these tools to make a lot of money in sports betting. So definitely check out Bet Pro if you haven't already. As Adam said, you get a 7-day free trial, Bet Pro or Odd Shopper. And you can find links for either of those, I think, within the past 24 hours on Adam's timeline. So make sure you check out Bet Pro today if you're going to get into some sports betting. And if you're like me in a place that where you can't do sports betting, you can only do Prize Picks, Noah's Advantage, that kind of stuff, then I would check out Pick'em Pro, the Prize Picks tool. Those are just as valuable to those of us who don't have sports betting. All right, final game on the slate. We have St. Louis at San Francisco. Jake Woodford on the mound for the Cardinals. John Brebbia for the Giants. Any interest in either of his pitchers, Adam?
No interest in the pitching. Looks like we have Brebbia opening and Junis coming in at 7,900 as a long reliever. So no real way to get to those guys. Woodford's cheap and in a park that downplays power. That's about the only good things I think that you can say about Jake Woodford. Doesn't get a lot of strikeouts. Not somebody I really want to roster in DFS, and certainly not somebody that I want to roster in DFS on a day that you can spend $700 more and get a guy that throws 102 miles an hour instead of Jake Woodford. So no interest in the pitching here.
We're being asked by Ski Mask to he wants your opinion on the Redskin name change. This is last non-basketball question, baseball question. Adam, how did you feel about the Redskin name change?
So I didn't like it just because like that's the name I grew up on and I don't like change. I didn't care from like if it's an issue, whatever, change it. I don't care. Like I didn't dislike it from that standpoint. I didn't like football team because I thought it sounded dumb, but then it really grew on me.
Yeah, because it was funny.
Right. Yeah, it kind of just grew on me. The hardest part about being football team was living in the area. Like you go to a bar and you're just like, hey, can you put the Washington game on or whatever? And it's like, do you want to, elaborate? And it's just like the Redskins, but they're not the Redskins, So like that you ended up saying Redskins a lot more because it was football team.
Right.
Just like in the course of conversation. But then football team kind of grew on me. And I think Commander sounds dumb. So I guess overall I don't really care. But I didn't really like the process and didn't like where they ultimately landed.
Yeah, it's those are always tough for me. These like name changes because I'm a white dude. I don't really have strong opinions. To me, it comes down to like, do the people actually affected by this care? And it's
Right.
people will
Which,
give you
like,
different arguments.
I don't think there was a ton of evidence that that was the case in this
Right.
case,
Yeah. Exactly.
but yeah, again, like at the end of the day, it's the name of a football team. Like, I don't really give it any thought. It only affects me in terms of like I have to hesitate for a second to think about what their name is now.
Right.
But yeah, mostly it's just I don't like Commanders. It's not like an attachment to Redskins so much as like Commanders just annoys me. It sounds dumb.
Yeah. Guardians also always every time I look at Cleveland, I have to remember what the baseball team name is now.
Right.
It gives me struggle there. Bill Miner says, just wanted to compliment you on not only your overall sports knowledge, but baseball in particular. Very smart analysis every day at Adam Scherer. Thanks. Yeah, Adam knows his shit with baseball.
Yeah, thanks. Appreciate it. Yeah, the one sport that I actually know like inside and out.
Yeah, and that's it's good to have you on the show with me because I'm like I just use the tools. I don't really know the sport inside out. I watch, some. I'm entertained. I enjoy baseball games, but I don't like go out of my way to watch them. I'm not like an everyday watcher. I was for a period in college in Boston. All of my friends, my roommates were all huge. Well, two of them were Red Sox fans. One of them was a Yankees fan. So we watched baseball basically every night. But that was back in 2003 to 2006. So these days, not watching nearly as much baseball. And I agree with you, Josh Gilm. The XFL got better names than the Commanders. Yeah, absolutely. The XFL has some pretty cool names, I think. I actually really like the Roughnecks. I think is a cool name. Brahmas, now that I know what it means, that's a really cool name. Yeah, a lot of cool names there. All right. All right. No interest in the pitchers. How much interest in the bats in this game? St. Louis, San Francisco.
Not as much as you would think, just because of the park. The park's been basically league average in terms of runs, but very close to the bottom of the league in terms of home runs. And obviously, that's what's typically going to win you DFS tournaments. Looking at the top stacks tool, you have the Giants middle of the pack, 5% chance of being the top stack, only 3% ownership. So, that's nice. The Cardinals. So we have the Cardinals going up against Mania, which doesn't look like it's going to be the case.
Right.
We had them with an 8% chance of being the top stack. I assume that comes down. Not that it's a knock on Mania, but typically getting these sort of bullpen games are pretty unappealing. Jacob Junis does give up some power. If you wanted to take shots on Goldschmidt, Gorman, Arenado, Contreras, guys like that, I think it's perfectly fine. Similarly with the Giants, you can stack against Woodford. He's not very good. It's just that the park, hurts here. So at low ownership, I think either team's interesting, but neither one strikes me as particularly likely to succeed.
Okay. And then how would you rank the four sides of this one?
Cardinals 1, Giants 2. I think I would rather play myself as a pitcher.
All right, perfect.
I guess like Woodford 3 because he's 5K, and the other two guys are both 8K and in a bullpen game.
All right, you're entering a 3 max contest. You want to do 3 different stacks. Which stacks are you going to?
Atlanta, Angels in my non-Mason Miller lineup, and kind of like Oakland.
All right. Ski Max sent his 4th super chat. Really appreciate the super chat. Ski Max says, Neil, as a black man, I can say your opinion does matter, bro. And as an Eagles fan, I miss the Redskins. Yeah,
I thought he was. I didn't read the super chat, so I was just listening to you say it, and I was just like, man, I think I need to get my vision checked.
You thought I was just saying that I'm a black man? Yeah, no, we got a super chat. Yeah, that would be I wouldn't be the first to pretend, I guess. Yeah, really appreciate the I guess I have no comment to that, but I do appreciate the super chat and the comment. Ski Mask. Top 3 pitchers on DraftKings.
Snell, Ryan. So the top 3, I think it's like Snell, Ryan, and then either Morton or Cortez. I will throw in that I really like Mason Miller in tournaments if you need to save salary.
Okay. And then home run pick.
Damn, I can't go to Joey Gallo. All right, let's go. Matt Olson.
All right.
Actually, Dalton Varsho.
Man, I'm struggling here. Who do I want to take for my home run pick? Oh man, see, so you just switched. Matt Olson going to hit 2 home runs.
So Matt
tonight,
Olson's
clearly.
definitely hitting at least one.
All right, so I'm taking Matt Olson. That's my pick. All right, perfect. Matt Olson, when he doubled longs tonight, you give me credit for that one. I think that we have covered everything here. Man, Obi-Wan calling me Neil the Narc Beerfield. Why am I? Everybody, what I say? I never buy weed. I only get it when like other people have it, and somehow that makes me a narc. Everybody started saying I'm a narc. I'm a fed because I don't buy weed because I just smoke when other people offer it to me. I don't know how to respond. How to? But you can't even have a beard, right? If you're in the FBI, maybe I'm probably wrong about that. I mix up feds with Yankees.
I've definitely had a beer with somebody in the FBI.
Did they have a beard?
Oh, beard.
Like facial hair.
I thought you said beer.
Yeah.
No, he does not have a beard.
Okay, yeah. Maybe I might just be mixing up feds and Yankees, whether you can have beards. All right, I think that we got through everything we needed to get through on this slate. Adam, do you have any final thoughts?
BetPro video will be out shortly. MLB article, NBA article will be out shortly. I'll be back for the NBA deeper dive at 5:30. And if you want the Odd Shopper 7-day free trial link, just check my Twitter. It's on there.
Yep. Yeah, I'll be on NBA Live Before Lock tonight with Josh. I'm hosting, and Josh is the analyst. That's different. I'm usually the analyst on that one. Josh is usually the host on Deeper Dive. We're switching things up tonight. I'm hosting Live Before Lock NBA tonight with Josh as the analyst. Should be a fun show. Thank you guys very much for watching. We really appreciate your support. If you have not yet hit the like button, please do that on your way out as well. And good luck tonight.